just would like to give some heads up about the cloud computing and the opportunities available in the global market. So these are the agenda we are going to cover today. Why cloud computing? What is cloud computing? What are the models? What is architecture? And finally, we're going to cover how to make a career in cloud computing. So before getting into the definition of cloud computing, we would like to know why cloud computing. To understand cloud computing, we need to go back to times when cloud computing was not used extensively or did not exist. Not too back, if you go 1 or 2 decades back from now, we would realize that application hosting and businesses run very differently. For example, let me ask one question. Does your college have any ERP, any website, or any application running with you? If you say that, yes, we have a ERP or we have a application, and where you have hosted your application? Are you running your own data center, or are you having your own infrastructure with you? I don't think we will have, I don't think your college have your own data center with you. So probably you may use cloud computing. So what are the difference when we have use cloud computing and when you are not use cloud computing? So if you are not using the cloud computing, let me tell you the issues. The first one is application cost. So always we need to develop our application. The application cost will be same if you are using cloud computing or if you are not using cloud computing. Application cost will remain same, but the infrastructure cost, if you are not using cloud computing. So earlier days, for example, 2010 or 2000, every company had their own infrastructure. They had their own data center. So for this, we needed to spend much cost for the stack of servers. So infrastructure is nothing about it contains a stack of servers. You can see in the picture. So for this, before cloud computing came in picture, so we had to spend a lot of money for the infrastructure, for the data center, and the stack of servers. That is the first cost we had to invest into the infrastructure wise. And then we had to maintain the infrastructure with some skilled persons. Skilled professionals are there to manage the infrastructure. So they have to deploy the application into server. So the skilled persons are doing these jobs. So previously, so when we talk about 2010 or 2000, we had to hire a lot of skilled persons to manage our applications. And then finally, the scale up and scale down issues. So for example, when we have our own application, the application is being used by users, not in a consistent way. For example, if you have your own application, when you show when you try to publish your exam results, or when you try to give the admission time, so your traffic will be high, right? At the particular time of exam results or at the particular time of admission time, we can see the traffic. So the usage of the server will be high. So that time we need to scale up or scale down our servers. So that is also another cost we have to put into the infrastructure. So these are the costs involved for maintaining a self data server. We call it on-premises. Whenever we have our own data center with us, we call it as on-premises. So for that, we will have a separate room for that. So in that room, the cooling, so we need to maintain a lot of ACs, and then, so this is what the setup was there in 2000 or 2010. So how we are going to overcome these kind of infrastructure issues and the cost? So what is really needed here, that could solve all these problems. And this is where cloud computing stepping in actually. So we just discussed without cloud computing, what are the issues we faced and what are the costs we spent on our own data centers, our own infrastructure. We had to spend a lot of money. But in cloud computing, so as a definition, I can say cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of IT resources over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. Instead of buying or owning and maintaining physical data centers or centers and servers, we can access technology services such as computing power, storage, and database on an as needed basis from cloud provider like Amazon or Microsoft. I believe the definition is getting bored. I'm not gonna continue with this definition as it may not help you at this point. I just would like to explain it another way. Let me ask another question. How many of you got electricity at home? I know it's a silly question to ask, isn't it? Yes, everyone is using electricity in our house, right? So just so when the electricity come in our home, just we are going to put the light or AC it on. When you off, it's off, right? That's it. So are we think about how the electricity is coming in? No matters, right? Because our usage is just we are putting the light and just we are using it. So at the end of month, we are paying the money what we used, right? But that is called pay as you go. Whatever units we are using at the end of month or at end of second month, we are paying it to the electricity board. That is called pay as you go, which is nothing but a cloud computing. So we don't need to bother about anything. So the service providers, so here the electricity board is a service provider. So they are giving electricity to our home. So we are, as an end user, we are just using it. Whenever it's needed, we are using it. If not, just switching it off. So at the end, we are just paying as a pay-as-you-go model. And so the second one, sorry for the disturbance. Another best example for cloud computing is Gmail. Hope everyone is using the Gmail, right? So that is the best example of cloud computing. So we don't need to bother about the data. Have you ever thought where our data are getting stored in Gmail? We are just using our login credentials, username, password, no matter where we are logging in. We are using our mobile, we are using our laptop, PCs and everything. But the data are, we don't bother about, right? So so again, the Gmails and all the email providers are using cloud computing. So they are maintaining our data in different servers. Geographically, they are storing in various countries. So now I would like to give the definition again. Cloud computing means you can store your data and other program on the internet rather than storing it into a physical device or computer hardware. So which means we don't need to bother about the data. So the data will be stored in the internet and we are not going to keep it in our laptop. Another example, you can see the mobiles. Now everyone is getting their Android and their smartphones, right? So now every company is providing storage, not with your mobile, right? They are providing is a cloud storage. So now what is the benefit over it? So if our mobile is getting crashed or mobile is missing, we don't need to bother about the backup, right? So the backup is already there with our cloud name login. So if you get another mobile, we can easily restore the details and then we can continue that one. So again, these are the things is using. So it means that you can share resources, software and information through an internet network, information can be stored on a physical or virtual server. So I will explain what is virtual server and how they are going to maintain the physical data. So these are the things controlled by cloud computing solution providers like Microsoft and Amazon, Google. Yeah, so now cloud computing. So now we just learned why cloud computing. So before cloud computing, what was our situation now and how we are utilizing the cloud computing. So what are the models in cloud computing? Cloud computing provides two major models. The first one is service model and the second one is deployment model. So in the name itself, we can understand service model. What are the service, what kind of service the cloud computing providers are providing, and the deployment model. What are the deployment? How we are going to deploy our data into the cloud. These are the two models they are providing it. So let's talk about the service model first. Cloud computing is today, they are enabling workloads. Companies are using and utilizing the resources from a very huge resource pool. So every company is having their own virtual network using cloud computing. These are the infrastructure is managed by the cloud service provider, like they are managing the network, the servers, the storage, the application, and other services. So from a customer point of view, it can be easily deployed, operated and automated with low effort and at very low cost because prices are calculated on utilization. So I'll explain. The first one is infrastructure as a service. So I don't want to give an definition. Let me show a picture. So here is a picture you can see infrastructure as a service. So first one is you can see the on-premises. On-premises, this is the one I was telling about early 2000 or 2005. Every company had their own actually. So in the on-premises data center, they have to maintain the network. So we call it LAN, WLAN, many things are there. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of that one. So everyone back in 2000, every company had their own network. They have their own storage, their servers, and then virtualization. On top of that, they have to purchase the softwares. Maybe they are using Visual Studio or .NET, Java, they have to purchase it. And then they have to deploy their application on top of that infrastructure. So everything they have to maintain as part of their on-premises. But now, the cloud services are providing three service models. So first one is IaaS, infrastructure as a service. And the second one is platform as a service, PaaS. And third one is software as a service, SaaS. So what is the major difference between these three? So in the picture itself says, right, so when the cloud service providers are providing the network, the whole network, the storage and the service and the virtualization, these are the four categories will be given by the service providers. So what's our task actually? So for example, your college is having virtual network. So currently, I'm not sure how you're maintaining. So for example, if you need a network, we need 10 or 20 systems with LAN capacity. So we can go to the service provider, we can ask them, we can have the agreement. So they will provide the whole set of servers. So how many virtual machines do you need? They will allocate it. How many servers do you need? How many storage you are going to store on behalf of your college? And the network. These are the four things will be served by the infrastructure as a service. So they will provide. On top of that, we need to install our own middleware software, which, for example, if we are going to develop a .NET application, we need to use a .NET Visual Studio as a middleware, right? So we need to install that one. What software is a Windows 10 or what are the softwares OS we need to install, then it's our duty to install it. And on top of that, the application and data, we need to build our own software. So if your college or if our company need our own application, then we need to build with developers. So the the bottom 4 will be provided by the service provider, and the rest of the things will be taken care by the company or a college. Now the second point, the second service model, platform as a service. So here, as I said, the 4 things, till virtualization was there in the infrastructure as a service. Now on top of that, they will provide the middleware and OS and everything, the software, everything they will provide, means Microsoft or Amazon, they will provide as part of PaaS, platform as a service. So what is our job? We need to develop the application. So as I said, if it is a .NET, if it is a Visual Studio or Java application, so our task is we need to hire the developers, and we need to develop the application, and we need to deploy it. So the server is ready, the middleware is ready, everything is ready. So we are developing the software, developing the application. Just our task is development, deployment, and testing, and then manage. These are the 2 things we need to manage. So the final service, SaaS, software as a service. So here, nothing. We don't need anything to here. So everything will be taken care by the service providers. The best example is Gmail. As I said, Gmail, are you hosting anything? No, right? We are just using our credentials and we are entering, and it's going through internet, we are using it. The same way, service providers are providing, for example, Microsoft 365. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it. SharePoint Online, Power Platform. These are the services they're providing as a SaaS. So as a company, we need to buy the software. It's not a software, it's like a collaborative tool. So it's based on individual, they will provide the lessons, we can use it. So here, everything will be managed by the service provider. So there is the backup and everything, restore, everything will be taken care by service providers. So these are the 3 service models they are providing. The first one is IaaS, infrastructure as a service. The second one is PaaS, platform as a service. And then finally, SaaS, software as a service. So now we have gone through the service model and what cloud computing is provide now. So the deployment model. So now we got the services. So, okay, so they are providing software as a service or platform services. So what kind of deployment we need? Do we need to deploy so that everyone can see? Or do we need service deployment model where we can utilize within our college or within our company? So there are 3 kind of deployment model. Now it's 4 actually. So major 3 deployment models are public cloud, private cloud, and finally hybrid cloud. Now they are call it a community cloud as well, so introduced. First, we need to understand what is deployment model. A cloud deployment model is defined according to where the infrastructure for the deployment resides and who has control over that infrastructure. For example, again, I'm not going to tell in the definition way, just simply I'm just telling, if you want to go to the office or college, so we got many ways to go, right? So some people will use public bus. So everyone can get into the bus, we need a ticket, and then we can travel to our office or college. That looks like a public cloud. So some of your professors or some of your students may have your own car. So just you can drive your own car and get into the office or college. So that is called as a private cloud. And finally, it's a hybrid. Hybrid is nothing but a taxi. So if you hire for our purpose, it looks like a private cloud. So we alone travel. And if needed, we can have a carpool, right? Myself or my friends and professors, as a whole, we can travel in the taxi, right? That is called hybrid cloud. So just I would like to give the definition for public cloud now. In the public cloud, cloud computing can be accessible by the public, which includes individual and companies. So our data will be stored in the public, so everyone can access, everyone in the sense, whoever has the access. So we are not going to give credential to all, right? So whoever is having access, they can use through online. So there is no need to bother about the virtual network or other. For example, to access some of the public cloud, for example, IRCTC is in public cloud. So everyone can access through internet, right? So no need to have any third-party link or something. So we can directly enter the URL and based on our credential, we can access it. That is called public cloud. And the second thing is private cloud. A private cloud is a dedicated on-demand infrastructure and resources that are owned by a user organization. A particular organization can have their own private cloud. The terms private cloud and the on-premises data center are often interchangeable. I explained about the on-premises. On-premises is nothing but is our own server. We can have it, we can manipulate it. The same way private cloud also acts. So we can have our own private cloud so that the external user can't access the private cloud. Private cloud deployments are operated by the business who is solely responsible for the infrastructure. So we are responsible for the private cloud and we can host it. We are the responsible. And the security, the users may access private cloud resources over a private network. So for example, your college is having a private cloud. So you can access the private cloud within your college. If you are going home, how you can access the private cloud? So on that note, they are providing a virtual private network and some of the virtual private network they are providing and some of the web interface they are providing to access your private cloud. The best example of private cloud is most of the companies in US, they have private cloud and they are giving work, they are giving their work to Indian companies, right? So Indian developers, so whoever working in Chennai or Hyderabad or other cities, if they want to connect the US system, US server, so they usually connect through the VPN, so virtual private networks. They will get into the virtual private network and then they will try to connect the servers and systems in the US. The best example is Microsoft Azure Stack as well as OpenStack. These are the examples for private cloud. And finally, hybrid cloud. Hybrid, as the name itself says, it has a private cloud and the public cloud. So they have their own private cloud if they need any, for example, the scalability I was talking about, right? So whenever there's a need of extra resources, so they can use their public cloud within the private cloud. These are the deployment models they are having in cloud computing. And then architecture. What basis cloud computing is running? So usually when we have an application, so we call it as a front end and back end. So what do you mean by front end? So we have a user interface where you can enter your login credentials so that thereafter you can see your exam results or payment gateway. So these are called front end for the ordinary application. So the back end will be like database. So whenever, if you want to see your data, so based on your login credentials, the backend, the system will give the details from backend. This is the normal architecture for an application. But in cloud, the front end itself, front end means it's our system. So our mobile, it may be our mobile, it may be our laptop or PC, is called front end. So we are connecting through internet to the backend. So backend means cloud architecture. So here the cloud computing is maybe the platform as a service or SaaS or IaaS. So we are connecting through internet to the backend, the cloud computing. So for example, you are connecting a system from Hyderabad, but maybe the system available in US or UK. So the cloud computing provides that way. So easily you can connect any systems from anywhere in the world. And what are the benefits of cloud architecture? Cloud computing architecture enables organizations to reduce or eliminate their reliance on on-premises servers and storage and networking infrastructure. Organizations adopting cloud architecture often shift IT resources to the public cloud. So, and also they're reducing the need of IT data center, replacing them with a monthly IT expenditure. So simply we can say, previously every company had to pay a lot of amount for the data center. That is called capital expenditure. It's not an easy task to build their own server or their own infrastructure. So they have to maintain a capital expenditure. But now, with the use of cloud architecture, with the cloud computing, they no need to bother about the infrastructure, as the cloud computing itself, they're managing the infrastructure. So the company, the private companies or private college, only they're giving operating expenses per month. So monthly basis, whatever they're using, so they're using as a pay-as-go model. So no, they no need to bother about their capital expenditure. That is the best benefits of cloud architecture. So what is the security and privacy? In our latest study of cloud application use, most of the organizations are using more distinct cloud applications, most of which are software as a service application, such as Microsoft Office 365 and also many other productivity apps that employees can sign up and or they are going to search without IT approval. That's the biggest threat actually. So software as a service. So when I am in an office, I can go through any of these SaaS applications, right? So without pre-approval. That is the biggest threat in cloud computing. So most of the companies are providing, for example, McAfee, they're providing a cloud security management. So they're taking care of the security and privacy. So for example, they're providing cloud security management for software as a service. Also, they're providing cloud security management for infrastructure as a service. So these are the service providers they are providing mainly into security and privacy. So I know you may get a little bored with the definitions and the things. So whatever we have learned actually, so I was telling about why cloud computing, and then I told about the basic, what is cloud computing, and the model, service models, the two kind of models, service and deployment model. Under service model, they're providing SaaS, IaaS, and PaaS. And deployment model, they're providing private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. So as a student, so most of us joined here as students. I know, so few of the professors already aware of the whole concept, I guess. So what I would like to convey to the students, how to make a career in cloud computing, because cloud computing is a vast area. So we cannot complete everything in a single course session. So I just gave the heads up about the cloud computing, and a few more points are there. I will explain in later point. So how to make a career in cloud computing? In today's scenario of the IT world, cloud computing is one of the most demanding and rapidly growing career domains. Statistically, nearly 90% of the companies across the world are already on the cloud, and the global public cloud computing market is all set to cross around $350 billion by end of this year. It's almost $350 billion. Moreover, most of the organizations spent more than 1/3 part of their IT budget. You know, right? So every company or every college is having their budget for IT sector, right? So they plan to promote their IT or they will automate their process. So every company or every colleges have their plan So what they are planning now, out of their budget, IT budget, they are trying to spend 30% into cloud computing. Indeed, cloud computing is here to rule and will require more and more skilled professionals, and that should be enough to prompt you to make a career in the cloud computing domain. So what need to do in order to make into the cloud computing career? First, we need to understand the basics, get aware with the cloud technology and platforms. This is the first and foremost task you need to do to build a career as a cloud computing professional. Already I have given some heads up about the cloud computing, but still you can learn more and more from many articles and YouTube as well. So there are many articles out there about cloud computing. Please try to learn many things. I also believe this is the right time to learn, because most of you students will get more time nowadays, right? So offices, you have your online classes. Now, I'm not sure how many of you going office and how many of you going college, but still you will get plenty of time to refer other topics like how the cloud computing runs and everything. So first, please get into the basics of cloud technology. Once you will get into the cloud technology and then respective platform, now it's time to take a step ahead, the second point I'm talking about. So we need to step into the next step and go through the fundamentals of cloud computing. It will help you to lay the foundation of the cloud computing career pathway to reach your career goals. You are required to understand several topics. Again, I'm saying cloud computing is not a simple thing. It has a lot of topics. For example, cloud formation, architecture, cloud service models, deployment models, virtualization, and cloud computing. So virtualization, again, is a big topic. So I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the LAN and WLAN, so local area network. So within the local area network, we can connect 50 or 100 systems. So this is what the offices and other things were working before 2010. Nowadays, nobody is using LAN and everything because everything is in the cloud. So the cloud is taking care of all the virtualization and the setup. Also, you need to go through with categories of cloud computing. Like I said, the services, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So these are the first. First, we get into the basics, and then we get into the particular topic which you are interested. The third one is work on other required skills. So cloud computing, so whatever we are talking about, we don't talk about the development model, right? How our coding is going to be, what are the development work we are. So we need to think about our basic concepts. So as a student, you must have learned about SQL or C# or some other programming knowledge. Please do concentrate on a particular development tool. For example, SQL. So most of you are aware of SQL. So what are the benefits of SQL? How we can get into the reports, how we are manipulate the triggers and other things. So please try to learn at least a particular one topic with SQL. Then fourth topic is we need to get into the advanced training. So now we have aware of what is cloud computing. So under cloud computing, there are many subtopics. Which one do you want to go to? So do you want to go to development or virtualization or architect? So just choose your point. And third one, just try to learn the basics of any of the development tool. Maybe it's a database, SQL or C# or Visual Studio, whatever it may be. Just learn it. And the fourth one is advanced training. So just now you need to think where we are going to be. It's a time to gear up the learning process and go for some advanced learning and training modules. You are required to dive deeper into the particular field to become more proficient with the technology. There are several advanced cloud computing topics that you need to understand, such as Azure Developer, load balancing, cloud scalability, cloud cryptography. These are the things. Also, Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Cloud Computing provides a lot of tools. For example, Microsoft 365, you learn about. Microsoft 365 is the topmost notch. Actually, it's in a top level application. Every company is started using Microsoft 365. So under Microsoft 365, there are many sub-topics, sub-applications. For example, SharePoint Online, Power Platform, MS Teams. Whatever I'm saying, every single application is a job way. So I'm doing my SharePoint Online consultant. I'm doing my Power Platform. So every company now in need of Power Platform developer, SharePoint Online developer, everyone is needed. So it's in the huge market, actually, whatever I was saying, SharePoint Online, everything. So you can opt for various training programs, online resources, books, etc. Please try to learn as much as you can so that you can be a proficient in a particular training. So the certifications, again, so as a student, I'm not sure how many of you are acquiring certificate from the service providers. So certificates will definitely help you to get into the right way. So try to gain as much as you can. I'm just going to the next slide so that you can explain. So this is the advanced learning subject I was talking about. The Microsoft Azure. So under cloud computing, there are many service providers. As I said, Microsoft is one service provider. Amazon is a provider. Alibaba and Google Cloud. There are many service providers available in the world. I'm talking about the Microsoft Cloud Computing. Under Microsoft, we have a lot of opportunities. So Microsoft Azure itself a topic. So if you take Microsoft Azure, under Microsoft Azure, you can have an administration job or development work or Azure data, security administration. There are many ways to learn. So what I'm saying, you no need to learn everything in a single hand. Just take one topic. So for example, under Microsoft 365, I don't want you to learn everything. Just learn just one point. For example, SharePoint Online. It will help you to get into the best consultant way. So the career path will be good for you to continue. Likewise, Microsoft provides Exchange Server Administrator, MS Team Administrator, and finally, one more newly launched application from Microsoft is a Power Platform. So Power Platform gives a low-code environment. So now previously as a developer, we had to develop many things with the help of C# and other developing tools. But nowadays, with the help of cloud computing, the development method is getting changed. There is no coding concept. Now everything is a low-code concept. Low-code in sense, you don't need to put your own code. Everything is already built-in code set by the companies. So what you need to do, just you need to drag and drop. So based on the condition, you can build your own app or you can build your own Power Automate. This is the advantage nowadays to get into actually. So you guys are so lucky to have this. So no more lot of coding. It's very low code environment. And this is the one I was talking about, the certifications. Why do we need a certificate? Because nowadays, every developer or every administrator, everyone is trying to acquire their certifications because most of the companies are accepting, they're expecting a best certified professionals from all over the world. So I have done many certificates from Microsoft. So I just would like to expect from you actually. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not asking you to do everything. Just pick your best one. So I will try to give my contact details at the end of the session so that if you want, you can just get in touch with me so I can try to help you on that, where on the basis of your interest, which technology we can go. So I will try to help you. So from Microsoft itself, they are providing certificates like Azure Fundamentals, Power Platform Fundamentals. In the top right side, you can see Power Platform Fundamentals, Azure, and the MS Teams, Teams Administrator. So there are many certificates available for you to acquire. So just concentrate on a particular technology and try to acquire the certificates on that. So the roles and responsibility. So this is what I was telling you. So cloud computing gives a lot of opportunities as to continue our career path. So what are the job profiles? So I just mentioned only for the Windows Azure. So junior cloud engineer, trainee cloud computing analyst, cloud developer, cloud security engineer, front-end and back-end developer. So these are the opportunity. This is only for Azure. So again, I'm saying when we talk about the Microsoft 365 or SharePoint, they are providing a lot of opportunities. So I know most of the finalist students might have got recruited by IT companies. So they may think, what's the need of learning these things and what's the need of acquiring the certifications? Because if you acquire knowledge and having certifications with you, you can have the voice. So you don't let employers decide your career path. If you don't have anything, so what your employer will do, they will get you into some other project. So maybe a development, C# or local development you need to do. But when you acquire particular knowledge in cloud computing and certifications, so you can tell them. So you get your own way when you do these things. Okay. That's what so my point is, I just would like to continue the ways. So these are the ways. So just try to understand the knowledge and then recruit skills and then certifications. Try to acquire a lot of knowledge on particular topic. So finally, I want to tell about the SharePoint Online. So this is also a collaborative tool Microsoft is providing. This is a SaaS application, software as a service. So most of the companies around the globe, everyone is using SharePoint Online. So if a company is having more than 100 or 200 employees, they started using it. And it's not only IT company, so every individual companies, maybe it's a retail sector or is a education sector or banking sector. So every company started using SharePoints. This SharePoint comes under Microsoft 365. Again, it's a Microsoft Cloud Services. So it's a software as a service. So they sell it. So one more thing I would like to know. Previously, we were using MS Word, MS Excel, and everything. So what we used to do? We used to get the license. So they will provide a exe file. So what we used to do, just install the Excel sheet or Excel or Word or whatever, PowerPoint. But nowadays, the SaaS, because of the cloud computing software as a service, they are providing online version of Word, online version of Excel, and online version of PowerPoint. So what we need to do, just we need to get the license from Microsoft. So they will provide based on our user credentials. So just we need to log into the system so that we can just use it and we can close it. It's an online version. So no matter, we need to keep it in the local system or not. So wherever you go, you can use it. And the same way, the SharePoint Online as well. So it's a collaborative tool Microsoft provides. So here also there are two versions of SharePoint. So previously in 2010 or 15, SharePoint, Microsoft has provided on-premises SharePoint. Again, here on-premises, I explained about on-premises. On-premises is nothing but it's our own infrastructure, it's our own server. We had to manage the installation and other things. But in SharePoint Online, we no need to bother about the installation or something. So based on our credentials, we can just use it and we can make use of the services. So that's provided. So in SharePoint, what is the benefit? And what's the benefit over us as a role? So SharePoint Online, a lot of roles like development role, administration role. So they are providing many jobs for this SharePoint Online itself. So if you get into the LinkedIn or something, so I'm not sure how many of you have LinkedIn connection. So in the LinkedIn, just update your profile with SharePoint or Microsoft 365 and just put, I'm ready to join the companies. Literally speaking, so most of the acquisition teams are trying to reach out because there's a huge demand in online SharePoint Online developers and administrators. So even our company is trying to get more resources for SharePoint Online. Unfortunately, we are not getting it. Why I'm telling to you, so the market is heavily demand of the developers, the cloud computing developers. It's a SharePoint Online or Power Platform or other tools. So please make use of this cloud computing, try to get the opportunities. And opportunity-wise, I would like to say one more thing here in UK. So, you know, UK and India has an agreement. So every year between India and UK, 3,000 students can travel to both countries. For example, if you are in India, you can travel to UK at the end of your education. When you complete your BE, you can directly come to UK. So UK is providing the opportunity. UK is providing the visa. You don't need to bother about the sponsorship or anything. Just you can apply the UK portal. I have completed my BE degree. I would like to work in UK. So UK government is providing visas. You can directly come here, and you can start looking for jobs, and you can get it. That is the one way of opportunity. And the second way of opportunity, UK is providing a lot of visas for the students as well. So I'm not sure how many of you are planning to study in higher education. So after BE, do you want to complete your MS in UK? UK is providing, and UK now, after your education here in UK, they are providing 2 more years for your benefit. So after your completion of your master degree in UK, you can still be here in UK for 2 more years, so that you can get into a good company, a good career path. These are the ways UK and India government mutually agreed they are doing it.